Good day and welcome to part 4 of our roundtable discussion. I'm Suki Lee, Vice President of Human Resources for ADP Canada. So I'd like to end our roundtable with some advice to our audience. Looking ahead to the next year, what are the top 1 or 2 things HR and other business leaders should be focused on to ensure they have the right talent agenda to deliver on the business strategy? Ken, let me start with you.
So coming from outside the HR world, I would say the really effective HR professional is going to be a great missionary. They need to get the message across to the CEO, to the CFO, to all the other senior executives of the value that the function is delivering to the company. It's not just about the mechanics of hiring and firing and benefits. It's about finding talent, attracting talent, developing talent, retaining talent, all of which it's not talent for the sake of talent, it's talent for the sake of delivering the objectives of the organization. And I just piggybacking on something that Les mentioned earlier about talking with the CFO about talent development. I think finance, probably more than a lot of other functional roles, has responsibility across the whole organization. You know, the sales group is going to be focused on sales. Marketing is focused on marketing. Clearly, finance has to measure and deliver, but one step down from the CEO, that's the group that's got the broadest responsibility for thinking about the effectiveness of the organization as a whole and what kind of value it's getting. So that's a great place to start in the proselytizing efforts.
Les, maybe to you next then.
Great segue, because I think finance and HR are functions that cut across all areas of the business. And whether it's measuring the numbers or measuring the effectiveness of the human resources or the talent, it can be a great partnership between finance and HR. The message I would convey to HR leaders in particular is that we can, as Ken said, we can do a great job of attracting and developing talent, but where the extra sauce in the cooking can come into play is if we in HR are working with the business leaders, identifying the results that we're looking for, but then backing off and saying, what are the leadership behaviors that are necessary within the organization to really drive the entire company to hit those numbers? What are the things we need to excel at, stop doing, or get better at? Just and really understand, and I'll come back to something I mentioned earlier. You know, we're asking leaders now to become much more sophisticated in managing people, which says if you want to be a great leader, you better understand behavioral science, and what makes people tick. And I think if HR people themselves are, if I can call them behavioral experts, then you can coach leaders on how to be better at themselves.
So a great way for us to be partners to the business, to help drive the business strategy and really show immediate impact. Samantha, maybe to you next.
Sure, I will build on what my colleague has said. In addition to focusing on leadership skill, I would add followership skill also to the mix, because organizations are challenged. It's a challenging environment. We have to try to eke out as much potential in our organizations as possible. And followership is largely an untapped potential. There's lots to be gained from additional focus in that regard. Studies show us that improvements in followership have a direct impact of 17 to 43% in every performance metric measured, whether it's top line, bottom line, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction. I'll add one other thing to that, and I would say focusing in on having a happy, engaged workforce is absolutely going to be a no-brainer. We know that happier, more engaged staff are going to be a whole lot more productive and creative.
Nora, 1 or 2 items from your end.
Well, I think picking up on what others have said, the whole question of understanding behaviors and how you can optimize talent by creating the right environment. And I've already talked about the culture of customization and creating environments where people can bring their whole self to the workplace and be authentically themselves going forward. But with the risk of insulting individuals who are in the paid labor force. I keep thinking as we're talking about the analogy of contented cows give more milk. Historically, managers, using the cow milk example, just had to get up earlier, have more cows, work them harder, use more muscle. And then along comes technology, and all HR brought all these technologies to the workplace, and it was just using those technologies as most effective possible. Well, now dairy farmers know that all of that's critically important, but really it's about the entire environment. And if the environment is comfortable and welcoming and supportive and nurturing and the right temperature and with the right resources and people feel like they want to be there every day, then if the manager's responsibility is to do that, then the cows will produce themselves. And I think that's what we're talking about, is that shifting from, sort of trying to be the micromanagers or to do for others, to try to nudge them to do more, to now creating environments where people can just blossom. And for those that aren't blossoming, help them to do graceful exits so that they can blossom somewhere else. And I think that's a big shift in thinking, focusing on strengths and talents and gifts as opposed to roles, job descriptions, and performance reviews.
So Mark, let's end with you.
I think those are all great points, and I think in many ways that's the challenge, is that we have to do all of the things that everyone's outlined on the panel. I think they're all crucial to the success of an organisation, ensuring that we're demonstrating value, followership, focusing on happy, engaged employees. They're all crucial. I love the cow analogy. I think for me, the additional thing we could do perhaps is start to really think about the future of work, because I think that embodies a lot of these different aspects. And I think as HR professionals, we are the people around the table who can really own that agenda and lead that agenda for the success and sustainability of organisations into the future.
Wow, what a great discussion we've had. I'd like to thank Nora, Ken, Samantha, Mark, and Les for taking the time out of your busy schedules to share with us some of this great advice that we've heard this morning and providing us the inspiration as we go forward to the coming year. This is the end of our Roundtable webinar. If you hadn't had a chance, please be sure to watch the other chapters in this series. You can also download our free summary report as well as listen to our audio podcast at adp.ca. You'll also find other HR resources on our website. Thank you and have a great day.